Hello, good morning, everyone. First of all, sorry for a bit of delay. It was, of course, a bit of a technical problem. There's always some technical problem at the very beginning. First of all, thank you very much for being here in this first live streaming of Friday Learning. My name is Paola Marinone. I'm co-founder and CEO of BuzzMyVideos. And I'm very happy to be here today with you, talking about digital transformation, online video, YouTube, and how to leverage the video for business opportunities. Um, just a bit about me, and then I'm going to explain you a bit more about the format. I've been lucky enough to be in this industry, in the online video industry, at the very early days. I started working at Google in 2006, quite a few years ago. Okay, don't do the math, please. I've been involved in the whole industry basically for 15 years, if you haven't done the math. Then after I left Google YouTube in 2011, I co-founded BuzzMyVideos. At BuzzMyVideos, we work with top publishers, brands, and creators to enhance their visibility on YouTube and to do business with it. Now, why are we doing this format as we speak? We've been lately, every single Friday, we've been sharing information, knowledge, anything that could be helping out any industries, any marketeers in how to leverage YouTube better. What I see every single day when I talk to different industries, from the music sector to consultancy companies, to education, higher education, to marketers in the food companies, or any different verticals, really, like across the board. I see that there's a lot of big questions going around about anything that is how to think new business models, how to engage more your clients or your new potential clients, how to be more assertive in anything you do, and how to think about new markets. So the whole world has been changing, and it's not about me telling you that. We all experience that. What we've seen from a business perspective, though, there's a lot of very important learning from the lockdowns in March onwards. I've seen different industries reacting very differently. I've seen big opportunities arising for a few industries, surprisingly, like very big ones. And a lot of learnings that I've seen there that could be applied in any other industry. Maybe not in the short run, so there are short run objectives that could be reached, or opportunities that could be reached. But at the same time, in the long term, there's quite a few opportunities to think about in terms of digital transformation, and especially rethinking new business models, new revenue opportunities. Because now, while it's true, it's definitely a very tough time for the economy generally. It's also true that because everything is changing, there are plenty of opportunities to be discovered, and the needs are changing. So it's a matter of rethinking the way we do our business. Therefore, we thought that it was important to share some of this information and talk about business, not talking about more in detail of what to do with the optimizations, or like how to leverage the YouTube growth, whatever. It's our bread and butter, but that's not the key thing. I don't want to just be here and talk about the geeky things, which I could talk about forever, really. The key thing is really thinking about business and how YouTube and other platforms, how the video or social media can be an opportunity from a business perspective. And I think that across the board, every time I have a business discussion with C-levels or like very senior people, there are very interesting point of views that come out of it. And I think that opening a discussion among a smaller community, I mean, this is not meant to be millions of people following and millions of people discussing about stuff. It is really about Can you hear me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you write something in the chat so I'm sure that I'm not talking to myself? All right, I'm getting pings. That it does work. Perfect. Sorry about that. I don't know where you lost me. Hopefully not long ago. Anyway, the key thing of this format is every Friday we're going to share 15, 30 minutes inputs, industry knowledge. We're going to possibly have guests, ask any questions in the comments. We're going to try to go through those questions, take those inputs, try to do some research and give some outputs that could be interesting for you and anybody in the industry. And again, it's not just about us being geeky. We all know each other in this. It's a small industry, the digital industry, online video even smaller. It's really about building business out of it. And I think like when I'm talking about, for example, when we're talking business with different industries, with C-levels and senior people, it's so interesting to see how much you can actually build by sharing this type of ideas and thinking business and using the knowledge that we all have there. So welcome to this first live streaming and the first on demand of these formats. Now, a few examples of what we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about, for example, education, sports, the food industry, music. And I want to start about music. I think this is a very interesting industry to talk about because it's a good example. And in terms of timing, in terms of what happened from a business point of view, in terms of digital transformation, and especially it's interesting to think what it could have happened if the pandemic was happening like 10 years ago instead of now. And this applies to many different industries that are in different period of their life into digital transformation. So now imagine the music industry 10, 15 or 20 years ago, okay? So we're talking about, of course, it's another era, but definitely online was not a thing, was not a big thing, no doubt. Or at least it was not a big revenue stream. Now, think about 5 years ago, it was going through recovery. So it went through very hard times. And then think about now where streaming and digital is definitely, if not half of the revenue in the bottom line, is even more than that. Let's say it's half, okay? And let's think about the majors. I was reading a lot of industry news about the first half of the year. And what is very interesting there is the revenue overall was growing. So while there was a pandemic going on, and there was basically physical sales, events, anything that was physical, of course, it was completely canceled, so the revenue was going down massively. So minus 50, 60, 70, 80%. So disaster, literally a disaster from the industry point of view. So imagine that was happening 10 years ago. The whole industry would be bankrupt. If not bankrupt, maybe some of them would have survived, of course, but the whole industry would be in big troubles. Now, what happened in reality instead is that because now more than 50% of the revenue is coming from anything digital, the interesting part is that the first half of the year for the music industry, especially for the majors, it was positive. There was a big jump in the growth of digital revenue was growing massively. And that was actually balancing out anything that was coming from physical sales and physical activities like events, and it was even growing further. So the overall budgets were not just mass, they were actually higher than what was expected. So if you, like, whoever would have expected like minus 10, minus 20, 0, if you're lucky. And in many cases, it was actually positive. If this was happening 5 years ago, it would have been a disaster still. Now it has been in reality a big opportunity on the digital side. So I'm not saying that it was a good thing for the physical and traditional one. It was a disaster on that side, and there's no doubt about that. As a business, though, what happens is that because of the growth of digital, and because they were well positioned for that, and because they were already going through the transformation in the last 10 years, they had to. I mean, there was no other choice really. What they were is they were ready. They had the content there. They were like the business model was there, and they were growing massively. The growth in usage of YouTube in March alone was plus 70%. So imagine if you are well placed on YouTube and you have a plus 70% usage overall globally. That means that you want to A, be there, B, take advantage and engage with your reach, grow it, and then monetize it somehow. And monetizing doesn't mean just monetizing on YouTube. It means lowering down your customer acquisition cost. I mean, the customer acquisition cost during the last few months has been the lowest, I bet, in the last century. So in the short run, of course, you want to grow the audience as much as you can, so you can monetize as much as you can. But strategically speaking, you want to actually leverage that growth to then invest in the long run, because you want the people and your fans to actually engage more and more because they want to, because the need has changed, and they're even more able to do so from different platforms. And then you can actually define where the needs are and actually meet those needs in different ways through other revenue opportunities for your business, as well as meeting the needs for the clients. This applies for music, but it does apply to every type of industry. What it does differ, though, is where the industries are in their journey of digital transformation. And still, you can't change a business from one day to the other, of course, but you can spot the opportunities from one day to the other, and you can build new businesses and business revenue streams and test them out and then grow them if they make sense from a business point of view. And this was definitely one of the key learning that we had by working a lot with the music industry, especially in the last few years. And it was amazing to see it because really it opened up huge opportunities for and covered up big losses that could have been there, literally. And I can see that from any other publisher point of view, but at the same time, that goes for industries that are not the publishing industry, not the broadcasting industry. It's for any type of industry, really. Because the key thing is, A, getting the reach, B, transforming the traffic to a marketing/business opportunity, if you're thinking as a marketeer and as a business. And I think that this is definitely a key long-term question, how you leverage that and how you leverage the data that you have now. Of course, like 10 years ago, data were not that available like they are now, and they are extremely important for decision-making in business right now in very changing times. And I think that part is extremely interesting. What I wanted as well to see from a music industry point of view is most of the times, for example, there's what I see, not everywhere, but a lot of times, what I see is that people think about, or publisher, like whoever does get revenue from YouTube or other platforms, they think about platforms like on as a one-off. So they're getting revenue from it, and that's it. The reality is that what is extremely important is that being multi-channel means getting a point of entry somewhere. And your fan or your potential customer as a company could get in at any point in time in any channel, being YouTube, being Facebook, being any other platform. But let's talk about YouTube. So if you get, for example, one entry point at YouTube, so you can do two different things. One is keeping in the loop in YouTube, and two, monetizing elsewhere. And this is something that is usually people just don't think about it. So they don't leverage the platform in a way that could maximize at most the revenue, which is not just the revenue opportunity of advertising, which is extremely important, of course, if you have massive audience. But then by driving traffic somewhere else, meaning to merchandise, to online ticket events, or any other sort of revenue, or like membership through live streaming inside YouTube, or it could be if you have an OTT to your OTT where you monetize in a different way, so you monetize twice the traffic, possibly at different RPMs, maybe. Or you have a subscription model somewhere else, and you can drive traffic there. So what it does mean is that being multi-channel means you leave your audience free to be anywhere they want. But once they get in, you want to make sure that you actually engage as much as you can, because then they are in the circle, and that means that if they love the brand or they love the band, they want to know more, and that's the perfect spot to actually then think together what's the business opportunity out there. So YouTube especially is to be perceived as a traffic generation platform, because it's a second search engine after Google, and the search results of Google actually report the search results from YouTube as well on the very top. And two, you can drive traffic somewhere else. This is 100% people, just businesses, especially creators would know. Businesses of any kind just don't think about that. So make sure you don't miss out on that, and you think about that too, because then it's where you really think business 360, and I think that's where the importance stands. Now, I've been talking quite a lot already. I just don't want to bore you, or if anybody's sleeping, are you sleeping? Anybody? No, kidding. Right, so if there's any question, I'm happy to take any questions. If there are none now, no problem. When it's going to be on demand, just write a comment below, and I'm happy to go through them, or whoever is going to be from the team next Friday. And we keep ongoing with this conversation. In the meanwhile, just a couple of things. In case you do have a YouTube channel and you want to have a YouTube audit, a complimentary YouTube audit, just go on BuzzMyVideos.com, and you can get a free YouTube audit where you know how to optimize your channel if needed. Possibly, maybe you need it. You can do it your own, or you can ask us. But in the meanwhile, please subscribe to the channel, comment, and make sure you don't miss out on the next chapters of Friday Learning. Thank you for watching. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to end it here. I am really happy that you have been watching now in live stream and later on demand. I'll see you next Friday. Thank you. Bye-bye.